Drummers I Like podcast, episode number 7. Hey everybody, welcome to the Drummers I Like podcast. This is episode number 7. I'm your host, Richard Ducat, coming to you from Los Angeles, California. On the other line, I got my homeboy and best pal, Kevin, coming to you from Vero Beach, Florida. Kevin, what's up, man?
What's going on, everybody? How you doing, Richard?
Doing good. Just hanging out, just had a busy day, a busy week. I think we both did. But, I can't complain, dude. It's been a good week, dude. How's your week? How'd your week go? Shit, how'd it go?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I kind of for everybody that doesn't know, this happens to be a Monday recording. We record this at different times depending on what we have going on. But this happens to be Monday, June 6th. But the end of last week was just really busy with lots of rehearsals and stuff I had going on. But this weekend was pretty good. I laid low on Saturday, which was kind of nice to kind of decompress, and then Sunday I had a pretty cool thing. I got an opportunity to go and play drum set for ensemble that was put together by the alumni of our local Sebastian River Middle School, where I went to middle school, and our band director there, Mr. Vincent Capo, he was retiring after 33 years of working for Sebastian River Middle School as their band director. So it was pretty cool that a bunch of the ex-students were able to put together a group of musicians from a bunch of different generations that had Mr. Capo, and we all played a little bit of music in the park for him, and it was a surprise. He didn't know any of it was going on, so somebody brought him there kind of as a surprise to him, and we were all there. So it was a really good time, and it was a lot of fun to do. I played trombone in his band, but my friend called me up the Tuesday before all this was going down. He was like, "Oh, so I have your trombone here at the house. Are you going to play, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to play trombone." So that's why he said, "Well, we could probably use a drum set player." So I said, "Oh, shoot, if you could use drum set, then I'll come down there and do it." So I was able to play drum set for it, and it was fun. We just played simple tunes and we're kind of like Stan's music from back when it was a junior high years ago. So it was fun. It was a good time.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, didn't you say you got rained on too?
Oh yes, it was. It was of course Florida right now just has this big tropical system that's moving around us. So yesterday it started getting pretty rainy. So definitely strategically had to put the kit under the pavilion so that way I didn't have to keep drying off my floor tom and snare drum.
Damn, that's quite annoying. But it is what it is, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's, I mean, we couldn't give up, and wasn't their way. They weren't going to cancel it. Come hell or high water, this was going down, and that's how it was going to be. So it worked out good though. It all worked out for the best, and it was great to be able to honor somebody that has put a huge amount of time and effort into a local music community here. That really a lot of those people that he taught all those years ago, all the way through now, are still playing music or involved in music some way. The guy who was directing it was one of his students. He's the band director at a high school that's maybe 30-40 minutes away from here. So it's neat to see how he touched a lot of lives. So it was pretty cool to do.
Cool, man. That's freaking sweet. I wish I played music in high school. I never did.
Yeah, well, to each his own. And we all have our own story, but you make the most of it now. What was your week? What was your weekend like? What was your tail end of last week and this weekend like?
Dude, it was work. I mean, as you know, I run a marketing company, and we just hired on a couple more salespeople, and it's just getting busy. And, it does take away from the time I want to put into Drummers I Like and into drums in general. But lucky enough, I actually made a lot of drum time happen this week. So Friday, I decided to pull out the drum kit because, I do have a 2-year-old, so I don't get to play live drums nearly as much. I think at least in a year I haven't pulled these things out and played them, maybe even longer. But, I decided, you know what, let's take out my snare drum, let's take it apart, let's clean it, let's put new heads on it and tune it. And I wanted to do it all with my son and kind of show him the process, because he's kind of at that point now where he's picking things up. He wants to play the drums, not just hit them and smash them, but he's starting to get into what the sounds are. And it's insane. He just wants to know so much. So we took a lot of time, and I have this all steel performance series D.W snare. It's like a 14x8. I got it in college, and you've seen it before, right?
Yes, I love that snare, and I want to steal it.
It's a freaking, it's a beast.
It
And
is.
I remember I think I was telling you the other day when I first got it, I just wasn't. I wasn't as proficient in tuning drums, and luckily a couple guys I lived with all worked at Guitar Center and were just really good at tuning, and they were the reason I was able to get this thing sounding good. But for a while, man, I would just like take the lugs, tighten it down, make it as tight as I could, and try to get the loudest pop out of it as I could find. And especially because I used to play in that garage, so it didn't really matter. The tune wasn't really, you couldn't really tell what it sounded like anyways.
Yeah,
But
as long as it was high and it had enough crack, then that's all that you were concerned with.
exactly. But I had thought about it, and back when I was on tour with Let Live and I See Stars a couple years back, they had the drummer they had before the guy they have now, Lionel Robinson. His name was Chris Crandall. He had that snare, and he had it tuned like really low. He just had a completely different approach. Amazing, freaking super talented drummer. But I spent a lot of time tuning this drum, and some artists that I really admired were James Brown's drummers from back in the '60s, Jabo Starks and Clyde Stubblefield. Man, they just had these unique snare tunings where it was a lot of body, a lot of rattle on the snare, and I just didn't realize that this DW snare is like perfect for it. So after a couple hours, I really found that tune that I've been in love with, and I've been trying to find every excuse that I can to play the real drums. Just to get my wife to go take my son out for a couple hours so I could jam, do some recordings, do some drum stuff, and yeah, I'm really happy with it, man. It's the clean on it was pretty simple too. It's an all steel snare, but it has like a chrome finish on it. And what happened, I guess, from all the sweat that I never cleaned off of it, it built these like little rust deposits on top of the chrome.
Kind of like pitting. Right?
Right.
It had like
Well,
the chrome was starting to pit a little bit.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, it did
I
pit in
understand.
some spots where like the chrome's gone. It's like black now, but very little areas. But for the most part, I took an all stainless steel cleaner that I used for my grill and like my fridge, and it like cleaned all the bad rust off like it was Lysol on freaking germs. It was insane. Like
Yeah, that's good.
it came off like it was nothing, and it polished it really, really nicely. And yeah, I went and got the new heads for it and cleaned it up, and I think I posted a video of it on Drummers I Like Instagram if people want to go check it out. It looks really awesome. I stuck those Vater Buzzkills on top, and I know the drum tacks and drum dots, those are really popular, and I really was actually hoping to try to get my hands on a pair of those, but I didn't really know the Vater Buzzkills existed, and I got them, and I stuck them all on top of the snare, and they made it sound really nice and quiet for the indoor scenario that I'm in.
Yeah. Now I got a good question in regards to that. I mean, I know you've been a Moon Gel player before. What did you think about them compared to the Moon Gels? And did you notice a big difference or?
Well, I mean, the only reason I even went and got these is my intentions were to go buy more moon gels. That's why I went to Sam Ash. I'm like, I'll get more moon gels while I'm there. It doesn't matter. And they had them, but then they had these, and they did have the drum tacks, but the drum tacks were like $24. And not that not that I don't think that's worth it by any means, but
You were just being cheap.
well, dude, when he pulls out a $24 drum tax, and then
No, I
and then he
know. I
pulls
get
out
you. I get you.
and then he pulls out the $8 Buzzkills, and he
Hey,
goes,
hey,
yeah,
money's money.
yeah, right,
You got
right.
to save sometimes, budgets, there's a budget there. I can't, you can't
Well, the
go.
Sam Ash guy talked me out of buying the tax. He's like, yeah, it doesn't really make a difference. They just look cooler. I was like, okay, all right. Well, I'll try the Buzzkills, and if they,
Sold.
yeah. And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you why the drum tacks are actually the better bet, because and it's the reason I didn't like Moon Gels, or not that I didn't like them, but it was hard to maintain them. It's because they're gel, so you want to be able to take them off and put them on different things and kind of mess around with them a little bit. But every time you put them on a snare or touch them, your germs and disgusting wood samples and spit and sweat.
Oh, they do. They get
Right,
nasty.
right.
They get
Well,
nasty.
those drum tacks are like plastic on top, and I'm not sure exactly how they work, but it seems to be an adhesive that you can continually take on and off and put on different things. And they look freaking sweet too. They just look really nice and classy.
Yeah, you can, I mean, use them to mute a cymbal if you really wanted to.
That's what they're for. I even put, and it's funny. I that's what I used to use those moon gels for on that K dark ride that I had, because I used to
Just
just
muted it up. Yeah.
I used to use it as a big crash, so it would make it not like destroy the entire world of sound.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean.
But these moon jet or these Vader Buzzkills, they really only seem to like do really good work for the snare. So I put them on my 10-inch rack, and it just killed it completely. There was no, it was stoop, stoop. It turned it into an ultra short tom, which I could see the advantage in certain settings, but it just wasn't really working. But on the ride and on the hats, it just smoothed them out a little bit. It was pretty cool. I would suggest them to anybody who just wants to spend $8 and experiment a little bit with sound dampening.
Sounds good. And those are Vater Buzzkills, correct?
That's right.
All right, Vater Buzzkills. Well, I'll have to check them out. I'll pick up a set of them, and I'll let you know what I think as well.
Yeah, I'll see you Thursday. I'll bring the extra couple ones that I have
Oh, that's
with
right.
me. With
I
me,
almost
yeah.
I almost keep forgetting. I almost keep forgetting completely that you're coming to Florida. So it keeps like surprising me every time. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You're going to be in Florida
Going
this week.
back to Florida. Switching it around.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
definitely.
and I was excited because I always play the Roland kit, which I love doing. It's the sweetest, freaking awesomest thing to have in the world because, and it really showed me after playing the real drum set is that if you want to jam and isolate yourself and really pick out your playing, if you don't have a nice studio to go play in with a real drum set, the Roland kit really does it for you because you can really take the time to think about how hard you're hitting, the dynamics of your hits. And I don't care what anyone says now. After having literally a snare that's electronic next to a snare that's loud, that the Roland kit's really got it down. If I close my eyes, I can almost forget which one I'm playing because that mesh feels so good.
It does. It makes a big difference over just hitting a regular rubber pad. But
Yeah, I told you too that I got that. I got the in that Sam Ash they had it's like the 12-inch snare for the
yeah,
electronic DW kit.
do you remember what model it is?
It's like a PD 180 or something like that. It's a PD something, but
Looks like a sweet piece. It'd be a
well,
nice addition to the V kit.
Well, it's nice now. I have a really big snare, but I told you what happened is that I came home with it and it didn't really work. There was no. It was like one snare. It couldn't. There was no velocity. There was something wrong with it. So I brought it
Oh, just
back.
as soon as
Yeah.
you triggered it, it was just there was no sensitivity at all. It was just
Right.
trigger, bam. Yeah,
This
I
and
gotcha.
and I had to hit it hard to get a snare sound. So I brought it back like all bummed out, and he's like, "Oh, it's cool, Sam Ash policy. We're gonna send it back and get you a new one, or get this one refinished and da 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 da." So they took it and sent it back, and it sucks. I gotta wait a couple days, but I'm going on vacation anyway. So by the time I get back, I'll have a nice new snare to play.
That's true. That's true. See, things to look forward to when you get back to LA.
Yes, dude, I'm stoked. I'm
You
stoked.
know, you're talking about V drums. You know, I've got myself my set of V drums that I've had for quite a few years now, and what I'm battling is, of course, mine just use the PD8 rubber pads for cymbals and hi hat. You know, they didn't. It was kind
Yeah.
of pre all the looking like cymbals kind of setup. So I've had them for a long time, and now they've just finally almost all of them have given up. I'm using like one of my mesh heads for like a ride right now, which works, but not ideal. And
Yeah, I know
then
what you mean.
the hi hats are just on the verge of completely going out. So I've been doing a lot of research because talking about being cheap, I'm of course always trying to work on a budget, and being the kind of guy that likes to tinker and mess with my hands as I do, I have been kind of researching maybe doing a set of DIY uh, electronic cymbals,
Oh,
and I mean I've come up with some pretty good ideas, and of course I'm going to have to start prototyping them or thinking them out a little bit, but it should be a pretty cost effective thing. I mean, Pintech made these like plastic cymbals. They just call them practice cymbals. If you could look them up, you could find them. Just Pintech. They're kind of harder to find. I don't know if they're still making them now, but I know I did stumble across a few people selling them online and stuff, so they can still be attainable. And basically, just taking that plastic practice cymbal because it's already cymbal shaped. It's already got the center hole, so it's gonna sit and behave mostly like a cymbal. And basically, just go to Radio Shack and get yourself some of the little piezo tweeters. A lot of them will come like in a pack that looks like it's like a buzzer, and you just got to take it apart and you got to slide the actual little pickup, little sensor out of it, and you basically just solder your wires to the different spots on the pickup where you need it, and you just maybe find a way to just kind of encase it like in some sort of foam just to kind of dampen the pickup itself, and you just find a way to put that on the bottom of that cymbal-shaped disc with a 1/4-inch jack, and you plug your 1/4-inch cable into it, and it seems simple enough, and it's like I said, it's pretty cheap. Those parts at Radio Shack are cheap to get, and the practice cymbals, I've seen a set of 4 of them for $48, I think, online. I saw some people selling individual ones for like $25 a piece.
Yeah,
So
I'm looking at them now. They're cheap.
I mean, you're not talking about a whole lot of out-of-pocket money. So possibly in the future, we might be doing some tutorials on how to make some quick, DIY electronic cymbals if some of my experiments go well. So I'll have to go into the lab and start tinkering with stuff, which hopefully I'll do here in the next few weeks. So we'll see how it goes. Seems kind of intriguing.
Yeah, dude, that sounds sick. I'm just sitting here kind of looking at these. I'm kind of probably order a couple myself and see how they would kind of work out with the kit I have now. It says they built with universal playing in mind.
But like I say, I mean, I have to think without turning them into an electronic cymbal, so to speak. It sounds like you're smacking a piece of plastic. But I guess I could see if you had like maybe a little practice pad set up in your living room and wanted something that maybe was a little bit more cymbal-like, you could go with them.
Right.
But it seems like the ultimate thing, if you want to try and create your own electronic cymbal by, building your own pieces onto that to make it so you can run it through a drum module, and then it's going to be a lot less than I think some of the Roland cymbal pads. I mean, they can be as cheap as about $100 and way more expensive than that. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man. You know what, too? Forget all that. Now I want to get those Gen 16 cymbals that Anthony has. Martone was talking about.
Well, I've been scouring a lot of, V-drum forums and just anywhere I can get people's opinion. And it seems like there's a lot of guys that are using those that have, there's these guys that have these elaborate, crazy V-drum kits. I saw some pictures of some guys today while I was snooping around, and it's pretty wild. But you see quite a bit of those, and a lot of guys talk a lot of good about how they feel. And the only thing that would worry me a little bit is how they'd maybe hold up in the long run. But I think they've been out long enough for enough people to play them now, where I think we would have gotten that feedback at this point. But I mean, as long as you're not going crazy playing at a metal gig every time, but that's not really what they're intended for. So
I agree. And you know what? I was watching that Stanley Randolph. I keep telling you about it. I don't know if you watched it yet. That Randolph.
Oh, on the Drumeo?
Yeah, he had one.
I did watch it.
He had one in the corner, and it had I couldn't.
I saw that.
He had something stacked on top of it though. And
it was almost like the curly cue where they slice the cymbal.
Right.
Yep.
It
sounded and it was
so
laying on
good.
top of it.
It sounded so good, man. That's my favorite Drumeo video in a while. Like in a while, that one tops it for me. I love watching that guy talk about drums. He just says so well versed.
Well, he's a funky drummer. I mean,
he just knows. That's what I'm talking about. He knows what he's talking
tasty.
about, man. It was really cool, and his setup was super unique. But I kind of want to jump back on the V drums because they've really been a big help as far as self promotion online, and that's what I want to lead into is that if you're on the internet and you are a drummer and you want to kind of make yourself well known in the industry, you want to get more gigs, you want to get kind of an online following. It's really important to film videos. Videos are like the new content creation #1 device to kind of show yourself off. And with Instagram kind of being one of those #1 tools, it's easy to even use your iPhone to shoot your videos, all that kind of stuff. But if you have a V-drum kit, I gotta say, over the last year, I have been so blessed to be able to record these videos with this kit, and it's been super simple because me, dude. I get super frustrated easy. I'm impatient with things, and if I can't just plug it in and press play when it comes to recording and like playing drums, I kind of might blow the whole thing off. I don't know. So being able to just take the V-drum kit, use my little Mio USB to MIDI cord and plug it into Logic. Logic X has like amazing kits that I can use, or I can use Superior Drummer, which also has a bunch of really nice kits, and it's almost practically plug and play. And you've seen my Instagram feed for pretty much the last 2 months. I put a video up every 3 or 4 days, and
yeah, definitely.
I got a backlog that's going I can't even count on my hands how many things I could post at this point. And it's all because it's so easy for me to just go plug in and shoot videos. Even if I just have 15 minutes to play, I kind of set it up to where I throw my laptop on there, press record, and at the end of the night, when me and my wife are hanging out in bed watching Game of Thrones and Silicon Valley, we are also editing drum videos. And it's, it's so simple for me to line those tracks up and make it happen overnight. I'm just super happy with the whole thing. And,
Yeah. Well, I got a good question pertaining to that because, I don't do as much filming, and I'm hoping that also getting my V drum back set up how I really want it and to be able to have the sound that I really want it. Because I also have the capability, like Richard does, to be able to run them through and run them through a recording program, and I also use Superior Drummer, so I'm familiar with those things, but not having the kit exactly how I want it makes it so I'm not exactly comfortable with doing stuff like that, and especially with filming and putting it out there. Of course, I'm always super conscious of myself, which is just something I'm always
it doesn't
like
make
anyways.
sense. You're so good.
Well, still, regardless, it's it's another thing a lot of drummers battle, I think, but pretty self-conscious about it. So, but another thing too is when I do or when I think of it, and I think a lot of drummers will relate to this, is sometimes you get that like, well, what am I going to play? Or, how when you sit down and do it, because you seem like you do it well and you do it quite often. Like, do you sit down with an intention like, okay, well, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to film myself doing, these double stroke exercises I've been playing around with my hands? Or do you go in like that? Or do you just like put a camera over in the corner and hit record on that thing and go over to your recording rig and hit record over there and just close your eyes, pretend like neither one of them are there, and just jam?
You know what? It's weird. It's funny you asked that question because it depends on how long it's been since I've last recorded, but normally my first time in front of the camera in a while, I get a little sketched out and I might not play as well, but it is kind of just like that. So I will plug in and, I'll get in the zone for sure before I play. I'll definitely get myself in the zone so I'm ready to just chill out and vibe on the drums. But, I'll find a really nice, and it's kind of all part of the process. I spend a lot of time trying to find a nice angle that I think looks cool. I spend a lot of time working on lighting because I want the video to have a great lighting. So when I bring it into Final Cut, I can get a good color grade out of it. And that's the only, I think, the elongated process of it all is that I shoot with a really high quality DSLR and a really high quality lens. So I can't just like plug it in, hit record, and get a good video. Like with my Rebel T3i, it just had settings set up, and the videos just look so crisp right away. But
So you kind of had to like map
yeah,
out. You kind of mapped out your shoots. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Here's how long it is. You set up for that
yeah.
setup and went.
I just make sure that I find the angle that I want. The issue with it is, and this is where I fail in a lot of senses. I wish I could just be a little bit better at this. Is that the issue with doing it is that I'm so limited to the time that I get to play that half of me playing, and the reason that I'm able to get these videos, Kevin, is because I don't ever get to jam. So it's kind of like I'll spend some time really working on things that I work on. Most of the time I'm working on my hands while I'm driving, unfortunately, or sitting in bed, or, I fit practice into so many
Annoying
different.
your wife, like
Yeah.
tapping all over the bed. Yeah, I'm sure. I could
I,
picture that.
I gotta give her a high five over the radio. I probably tap and do it so much where it probably takes what's the fastest drummer's speed record for hits in a minute? 2,165 drum taps before she says, "Can you shut up now?" Or Rich, you're tapping.
It takes that many. It takes that many hits.
Probably. Dude, that's what I'm saying. She's pretty tolerant about it. Same, my parents were really cool about drums. They let me just play all day in the house. They didn't give a damn. But that's the reason that the videos have become so organic for me is because it's a mix of, yeah, I do put the time and effort into making it look good, but I do just hit record and just start jamming. And the issue with that is I'll make like an hour's worth of jam videos sometimes. And I'm so overwhelmed to even sit down and go through it and start editing, because if I would just maybe have done a 5-minute video and then put small clips in, it would be a little bit more tolerable. But I have to go through the upload process, throwing a color grade on files that big. It's super long. Even if it's maybe a 30 or 40-second video, my little MacBook, it can't process and render that quick, and I can't really spend time in the office all night because it'll wake my son up. So, I kind of make do with it. But
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, people too. Richard is like a photography, videography guy, so he knows all this stuff. It's like
that is the
color
fortunate.
grade
Yep.
and the lighting, and what he's got to get. And that's what also helps with Richard's videos a lot. And
Right. like
you
I
know,
understand the camera, so
that's not to say that us mere mortals can't make a good video,
you know what? It's
but
easy.
you know, it just shows that with maybe just a little bit of a little bit of even just internet research on what to look for in lighting, you know, you can find something really easily that just lets you know, oh, hey, if I just, you know, found a way to backlight this just a bit,
And it's
it'll make this
yeah.
video just look so much better.
And I can, and you know what, for our users to really, that I just want to know what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? It's super simple. If you have a DSLR, which you need a camera that's going to let you have manual settings to work with. So what I do is and this is what's going to make your videos unique. It's cool. You can put a camera on there and get a full, video that's in detail of you playing. Or if you want to be artistic about it, you can do what a lot of cool people do. They'll lower what you call the f-stop on the lens, so down to like a 2.8 or a 1.8 or a 1.4, depending on what lens you have. If you got a 1.2, kiss my ass. I'm super jealous. But for me right now, my particular lens is more of a mid-range zoom. It's a high-quality mid-range, so I'm in the 24 to 70 range with a 2.8 f-stop. So I'll get a really nice close-up view on like the hi-hats or the floor tom, and I'll focus one little spot. And even though I'm out of focus, since I have the high-quality audio and you can see what I'm doing, it doesn't matter anyways. The people are going to hear and see what you play. So I just spend a lot of time trying to find that really cool, unique angle where I'm going to grasp I'm going to be able to show you guys what I'm playing, but at the same time, almost look at it like a photo. Like I look at it like how could a photo of me playing drums look really cool? Well, it's the same thing in video. Find a really good angle or a really good shot, and then you focus on that point. So like I said, 2.8, get a really nice cool angle, get a low f-stop, and color grading is a little more complicated. If you have an app like Final Cut or even I don't know if iMovie's still around. I haven't messed with iMovie in a while, but some of those apps have like in-house settings that can give you a nice little look. Or even I've had those times, dude, where I've been so lazy and I'll cut the video, send it to my phone, and then I'll use an Instagram filter over it. And they work.
Well,
They
hey, that
work,
just
dude.
goes to show people you don't have to go super crazy sometimes, you
You
know.
don't. And even this, dude, if you have an iPhone 6, dude, it's not even
Yeah,
hard
well,
to
and they do a beautiful job with their cameras too, and I mean,
or a
it
newer
looks good.
smartphone in general, just a newer smartphone in general that can shoot 4K. I mean, you might not have the audio from the phone, but there's your camera. You got the hard part down. All you got to do now is figure out how to get your audio. And if you got the V drum kit, it's like $30 at Guitar Center for that little Mio USB to MIDI. You can go right into any laptop that has whatever DAW you're using, and record. Boom, and you're not going to have to spend time finding a good sound or does it sound good in this room or the drums tuned? That's the beauty of it. If I had to sit down and tune my drums and work on, I did this, and you know what is good point. I did this yesterday. I tried to record real drums for basically the first time ever. Took me 2 hours, dude, before I could even record. All the time that my wife went out to let me play, I spent setting drums up, and she got home and I was just hitting the snare for the first time. Ridiculous,
Welcome
man.
back.
Right. So it was like a nice reality check. You know what? Bless the electronic kit because it saves me a lot of pain and anger and frustration and time from on the drums. It really gives me more time to play.
I mean, they're definitely invaluable tools, and like I said, hopefully with a little bit of TLC, I'll have mine back in order. But even in the interim, I mean, just having that ability to let's throw on a set of headphones and play, just like Richard has mentioned too. I'm a father as well. My daughter is a little bit older. She's 9, but still,
She's
she
so
sleeps not
so
too far
cute.
from where I keep, the drum kit in the living room. And there's plenty of times where she's been in there sleeping, and I'm able to tap. Of course, I can't go too crazy, but I can tap, and it doesn't wake her up. She wouldn't know. She wouldn't know what was going on. So it works out. It works out nice. It definitely makes it much easier to get that much needed practice time, especially for folks that just don't have much free time. I mean,
I
me and
agree.
Rich can both attest to, having something that we have to obligations we have to take care of, during the week, and put in a lot of time with that, as well as music stuff, as well as drummers that like stuff. So finding the time for individual practice is a premium.
Definitely. And to kind of just jump back real quick on that. To our listeners out there that are successfully recording themselves and have found a really nice outlet to get high quality recordings, whether it be real drums or fake drums, let us know. Tag us on all the social media channels because we want to see your videos, and we definitely want to talk about your process and in the comments below on our website for this posting, let's get the conversation going. Let's talk about some of your recording setups and kind of the steps you've taken to get to where you're at now. It's I'm really interested in learning more.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of cool ideas out there, and even on some of the acoustic kind of miking options, I think there's a lot of really good setups that end up, with a less is more kind of aspect, but they end up coming up with a really good sound for not having to go really crazy. So
Yeah, that's what I
would
want to
definitely
see.
be interested to see some other people's techniques and how they do that. So
Help me.
definitely leave us some feedback. And
Please help.
another thing too is if any of you drummers out there are trying to achieve better videos or working on those things and maybe are not as camera savvy or anything like that, and if you have some simple questions, so you could always email Richard, and he'll get back to you. You could email me, but you wouldn't be getting an accurate answer back.
Nope.
But you could definitely talk to Richard, and he would definitely steer you in the right direction. So
I love talking about video. I could keep going. I could talk about cameras and lenses and the approach to your photos. But if you guys need any help, just hit me up. I love to chat about this kind of stuff. I can walk you through whatever process, and free info from my brain.
that's right. Take it, folks, because he does know what he's doing. I like his videos, and I like how he's been playing with some of his angles too. So
Thank
don't
you.
don't tell him I said so. Oh shoot, yeah, he's right there anyway. So
Thanks, man. I can't wait to see your video and show you off to our community about how freaking much of a drum slayer you are.
I don't know. I don't know about all that, but
I'll get you Thursday. I'll get a little bit on Thursday. Yeah, me and Kevin are
That's
hanging
true.
out
You'll be
this
here.
Thursday,
You'll be here.
guys. We're hanging out this Thursday for the first time in almost a year, I think. And we'll be hanging out Friday too for my awesome son's awesome second birthday. Just a little shout out to my son, Everett. What's up, buddy? I know you don't even understand what I'm saying, but I love you.
That'll be a good time. I look forward to it. It has been too long, so it'll be nice to. I think he's gonna spend the evening here with me and Vero on Thursday, and probably get a chance to
Jam.
do some shedding in the warehouse on some live drums, and just being able to not have to worry about cutting it off early or anything like that, and then get to experience some sharp tooth practice, I think.
Yeah, I'm leaving my family in a house for the whole entire night, and they're gonna have to just deal with it. I'm playing drums.
You got to get your drum time in. You got to get your drum time in. Especially when you're here in Florida, you're not gonna, you're gonna be back in LA, and then who knows the next time we're gonna get a chance to see each other. So
I don't know.
it'll be good to jam together.
Part of the team for my company is out in Orlando now, so I think I'll be making some frequent trips over the next couple months. So we might get to hang out more than you think.
That's good. Well, hey, I am definitely down for that, and it would definitely be cool to in the future maybe even do some of these podcasts or stuff like that, like live together, live on location.
Well,
so.
you're coming out for NOM this year, so get ready for that.
Well, and then we'll have to definitely do something that's kind of revolving around that, because I think that'll be a lot of fun as well.
Yes, I can't even wait. And I'm just excited, man. There's so many cool announcements. I know there was a big announcement from Gretsch you were telling me about. We didn't finish talking about that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'd kind of picked up on it, I guess, a couple weeks ago. They had announced that they were going to have big news today on June 6th. And it was that Vinny Caluta has come back to the Gretsch drum family. So that was pretty interesting. I have to say shame on me, because there for a while I kind of lost touch. I wasn't quite keeping up with Vinny quite as much as I once had in the past, and I didn't know that he'd actually moved away, and found out he'd gone to Ludwig, and I guess that around 2012 or so he made that move, and
Moved away from Gretschland.
yeah, and actually I think he moved away from Ludwig pretty quick too. I don't think he was with them real long, and he's just kind of been doing his own thing and not relying on any sort of endorsement like that, as far as I can tell. And so he's back with Gretsch, and they announced it today. And I really like what Gretsch is. I've always been a Gretsch fan. I actually play a Catalina Birch kit.
I love that kit so much, dude.
It's served me well. I mean, it's definitely a that mid-level semi-professional kind of tiered kit. But I've gigged with that thing a lot. It's seen a lot of abuse, and it's taken a lot of abuse, that's for sure. That's for sure. And it still just keeps ticking. So
I feel like I remember
I
when you got that.
you might have. It was a long time ago.
I remember when you got that, and when you got Heiser's snare. You still have that, right?
I
The
do. I do. I'm not actually using the acrylic. I have the snare that Richard's referring to is it's like a 5 by 13 spawn acrylic snare, and I like it, especially for the kind of more aggressive stuff that I do in my current project.
Smash.
But I did split a head on it actually. I was playing around with some tuning techniques that I probably shouldn't have been playing with. Think I put a little stress in an undue way on the old batter side there, and it couldn't take it anymore. So it's actually been sidelined, and I've been using my old. It's the snare I've had in my possession the longest. My old Premier. So yeah, I've been using my 14 by 8 Premier snare that I've had for many years, and it's cool. It's just a big nasty maple, beautiful snare. It's
That
got
fat
nice
boy.
die-cast hoops,
That fat
and
boy.
oh yeah, it's definitely a fatty, but it's got a great low fundamental pitch, and tuned kind of in that mid to high range. Kind of being respectful, not to try and choke it out or anything.
Right.
It fits well. At first, there was a time when I put that thing away because I didn't think it fit quite so well with what I was doing at the time. It's kind of nice to get it back out and rekindle that. But
I can't wait to hear it.
yeah,
I'm
you'll get a
stoked for
chance to.
that.
That's been my main snare here for a little while. I've been playing with
Yeah, excuse my Joker laugh a few seconds ago. What? Because you had brought up you'd snap the the bottom side of the snare, right? The batter side.
it. No, no, not the bottom, the top, the
Oh,
batter.
oops, heard you wrong. Anyways, it just reminded me of my first experience, and you'll know this guy in Vero Beach, the music store. It's not the pawn shop, but it's the one over on Miracle Mile. It's like an actual music
Melody
shop.
music. Yep, I know that
Melody
one.
Music, yeah. Who's that guy there with the glasses that owns it? Do you know his name?
Little short Italian guy, Anthony.
Anthony. That's right. So
Yeah.
I bought my first cymbals. I bought my first drum heads from him by myself, and
Okay.
you just had reminded me of the time I went in there and I bought the bottom side snare head, and I put it
Oh,
on
you oh
and I put it on the
brought the
top.
snare side head.
I put the snare side head on the top and just freaking killed it. And I went back in there like, bro, what's wrong? Why'd you sell me this? Why didn't you tell me? And he was like, I was so stupid. And I just remember now how nice and kind and polite he was about it. Look, man, I can't refund you because you bought the wrong side and you're probably just new at drums and that's okay. But I give lessons so I could show you. What?
Oh, that's right. It's like, hey, let me turn this into like, hey, by the way, I can
Well,
help
you
you
know what?
along
He
the
could have
path.
he could have did that, but he showed me really quickly. He turned me around and he ended up giving me a discount on the snare head, and he was really cool about it. It was my mistake overall. He didn't have to do anything for me, but he still went out of his way to kind of give me a nice pat on the back. That guy is probably one of the nicest dudes I've ever met. He was always so cool,
Yeah, he's had that business a long time, and they're still doing what they do. So
especially with the competition in Port St. Lucie popping up like that.
yeah, I think kind of in our area, there's enough space kind of here where sure you can still get stuff online, obviously, and have it shipped to you. Normally, most of the stuff is free shipping, so it's not even like you're really thinking about having to worry about shipping. Most of it, a lot of it is tax free, depending on the company.
Right.
And so really, it's not like it once was where you could say, well, yeah, sure, you can go buy it online, but you got to pay shipping and you got to wait. Now it makes that a lot easier. So it makes it even harder just to compete even with the online element as well as the big music stores.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's not to get off. Now we got off kind of in a crazy tangent, but we are glad to see the big announcement today from Gretsch and that Vinny's come back, and I've always
He's
just adored
back.
adored Vinny, and
Yeah,
and
you always talk about him.
yeah, that's true. I always just thought he was kind of the top, the top man, the top of the mountain, and I still think he is. He's such a chameleon that you just don't even know when you're listening to him. Sometimes you just hear amazing drums, and yep, that was Vinny. So.
Well, Vinny, if you're listening, come on the show and let's talk drums, buddy.
Yeah, well, we know he likes to pick and choose his outlets, but sure, if he ever wanted to hop on, he'd always have a place here at Drummers I like. But hopefully, maybe we'll see some neat signature stuff or something like that come from all this. I don't know if there's going to be more. I didn't see everything with the announcement,
Yeah.
and I haven't followed up much. But that would be really cool if they haven't said anything. If in the future that we see some more signature Vinny stuff, whether it be snare or a whole kit or anything like that.
Did I see a Dennis Chambers snare get released?
I'm not sure. I didn't see
I
that.
think I did. I think I did.
Not
And
to not to change it up on you or keep on Gretsch too much, but I think one kind of important thing to talk about with Gretsch is, and something that I've just kind of seen in some of the forums as I've been bouncing around here lately, is it seems like there's a lot of confusion going on with what's going on with Gretsch and between DW. So a lot of people are just like, oh, DW bought Gretsch, and it's like now they're making Gretsch, and so that's just another DW kit. And I think it's important to note DW is the distributor for Gretsch now. So they're just handling distribution, and they're part of the family. But
I see.
Gretsch is still Gretsch, you know what I mean, and it's still going to be kept exactly as such. Fred Gretsch is still, he's still involved. It's still happening like that. So I think a lot of people kind of are all just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, now they just own Gretsch. It's not that quite that cut and dry. So I think that would be a good thing to clear up, because it seems like there's a lot of cloudiness there still. People are still just kind of confused on what happened with that merger and how they're working together now, which I think is great for Gretsch.
Right.
I mean, I've been a Gretsch fan for a long time, and they just always kind of seem to do it different, and so it would, definitely don't want to see that just become absorbed and just kind of fall into something that's un-Gretsch. But then again, there's some purists that probably just aren't going to be happy no matter what. So
Yeah,
so
that's
you
how
just
it
can't
always
please
is.
everybody. But I think what they're doing is great. I think it'll just help the company. It'll help them get a better, broader reach, and it's a great kind of distribution chain to be involved with Drum Workshop. They're great guys too, and make an awesome product. So.
It smells like good business to me. Sounds like a good business decision.
Yeah, no,
That's
absolutely.
it, man.
I
Just
agree.
seems smart. Just seems like a very smart move on them.
So,
I'm excited to see what happens. I really
so
am.
enough of that about that. I'm finished. Hyping Gretsch. Being biased here.
Hey, man, nothing wrong with that. If it were up to me, I'd own a kit from every company, because I
Yeah,
think everyone has just their own. Everyone has their own special voice in this whole world of drums right now.
yeah. There's a lot of really great drum sets out there. That's the cool part.
Hmm.
So.
A lot of really cool drum sets that a lot of custom companies too that are coming up now. That
True.
I'm excited to. I'm
Well,
excited to
I'd
see.
say more. I'd say more custom companies now than ever. Really. I mean,
I mean, look at SJC.
at least that you see more. You see more of them. Maybe at the with more social media via Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But it seems to me I see a lot of really cool custom drums out there.
I do too. Social media makes it a little bit easier for the common man to make it up out in the mainstream. So
Yeah, definitely.
cool to see some of that stuff, man. I don't know. I think we're kind of nearing a wrap up here. I think we've gone through a lot of the notes that we wanted to go through. I'm actually really excited because next week's show we're bringing on Steve Carey from the Color Morale, and that's going to be an interesting and awesome conversation. They've been one of my favorite bands for ages. Steve Carey is a freaking shredder, and he's been with the band since the beginning. So just probably a lot of great stories, a lot of awesome stuff that we're going to talk about, and his drumming in general is going to be awesome to talk about. If you check him out online, he's a freaking groove dog.
Yeah, I look forward to talking with Steve as well. I'm not quite as familiar with the Color Morale, but I will also be doing a little bit more of my due diligence.
I mean, if you
But
like,
I have seen quite a few of his videos just online of him kind of jamming around, and I always like what he's grooving on. So
yeah,
very cool.
man. It's funny. A lot of these more post-hardcore metal bands, I'm starting to find out their drummers are like freaking the masters. Like, look at Ghost Inside, Andrew. I don't want to say his last name wrong, but he's a shredder.
Yes.
He's a shredder, man. Yeah.
Of course, he's got his own amazing battle that he's fighting right now with having to have that leg
Amazing.
amputated.
Have you seen that video of him walking? Good for him.
Have you seen that video of him playing drums?
Dude, I know. That's even
Like,
crazier.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Didn't even let
I
him
mean,
stop him, man. That's so awesome.
he's got his mind in the right spot if he can really try and get himself back back and figuring out ways to keep himself behind the drum kit, because that's just awesome.
He's the perfect that, and you know what? Excuse my language here, but he is the perfect example of, you know what? When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. When someone says you can't play drums anymore, you say "fuck you." I'm still gonna play drums no matter what. That's it. It's just that it's just beautiful to see it, man. It makes me make myself want to push myself harder as a drummer, and I'm sure it makes a lot of people feel the same way.
Sure, absolutely. No, it was really cool to see. Just a good story.
Really
So
good story.
wish him the best.
Yes.
Wish him the best, and hopefully see him doing some updates on his progress with that. You know, even just his progress with where he's coming at with drumming. You know, throw some beats out and
He's giving
see where
lessons.
he's at.
He's giving lessons on his next tour, which is like that's amazing. That's amazing. So now you're gonna go from this huge struggle that you came out on top of, and then now you're gonna go teach and give more of your time to other people when you're healing yourself. It just says a lot about his character. It really does.
He's teaching.
Yeah, dude, it's
I didn't
insane.
hear about any of this.
Yeah, yeah. He's just posted a video up on his Instagram a couple days ago, I think, where
Didn't he really?
it was showing him grooving, and it was a funky little groove, him just messing around, and then he said he was giving some lessons. But let me, you know,
That's great. That's great.
let me double check though. Let me double check. You know, don't anyone quote me here, but I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 120% sure that's what I saw. But you know,
Well, if so, then even bigger props, because that's
bigger
just
props.
even more amazing. So that's cool.
Just a
That's what we like to hear. That's what we mean.
the fact that he'd even be going
And you know what?
out on another tour anytime soon.
He's an SJC guy too, isn't he? I think I remember seeing when they did that first video, him kind of getting behind the kit. I think he had a t-shirt draped over the snare, kind of dampening it. I thought it was an SJC shirt. I think he plays SJC.
Okay, I think I just might have gotten it a little bit wrong. I'm not sure if he's giving lessons, but he definitely is. Put a video up just a couple weeks ago, and he is killing it. He's playing those Gen 16 cymbals, actually. He's like
Okay,
smashing the kit right now. He just looks like he's just right back in the movement, right back in the zone. It's so
that's
cool.
great.
Oh yeah,
That's fabulous.
good for him.
Fabulous.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Well, I guess on that note, I mean, I think we've had a pretty good show here. You know, we've got some great stuff going in the future. I mean, we've got some really cool guests lined up that we're still just working on nailing down some final times for. And yeah, I mean, you know, this should be fun. This should be a fun next run of podcasts here, Richard.
Dude, we have so many awesome guests coming on. If I'm just super happy with the progress we've made, and I got to say thank you again to everybody who's been listening to the show, following it, you know, talking about us online, because you know we're drumming up a lot of cool drumming. We're drumming up a lot of we're drumming up a lot of cool promotion.
No
online.
pun intended.
And you know, it's we like you know we keep saying in every show we wanted to do this for so long, and the fact that we're doing it, and making it happen every week, I just can't be any happier with the slight success I feel like we're starting to have, and it's only up from here because you know we're working extremely hard to keep this thing going, no matter what. You know, we're going to make the show happen, guest or no guest. You're going to have a chat with me and Kevin, or you're going to have a chat with me, Kevin, and some awesome, super cool drummer that shreds. So, you know, really cool things coming, and yeah, that's about it. You know, I want everybody to go out there and check out our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter, our Google Plus page, and our YouTube. In some form, one way or another, we're either an @DrummersILike or we're a /DrummersILike. If you use the internet, then you know what I'm saying. I also would implore. I would love for everybody to go out and leave some reviews on the show. You know, we ask everyone every week, and you know
That's super important. We
we're-
really want those
yeah.
reviews.
starting to get more now, and it's good to hear. You know, good to hear what everyone's saying. The feedback's been pretty good, but the more the merrier. And you know, let's strike up a conversation. We want to know what you guys want to hear, what you want us to talk about. You know, me and Kevin spend a lot of time looking at the drum forums, trying to get an idea of what you know people are talking about, and what you know what's the you know the best stuff that's going on in the drum industry.
Absolutely, and that's kind of our goal, and hopefully we can just keep bringing it to you every week. So
Right.
I guess until next time, and we're going to be here once, just like Richard said earlier, with Steve Carey from the Color Morale. So we are super looking forward to that. Till next week, we'll see you later. Ciao.
Yes, everybody have a great week and have a good weekend. Thanks a lot, guys.
Don't you cry.